What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jake from Citizen JV, and today I want to talk about my 8-hour impressions on Borderlands 4. This game recently came out a couple of days ago of this month of 2025, but the reason why I decided to make this video is because, I fell in love playing the original Borderlands. From Borderlands 1 to 2 to 3, the pre-sequel, and Borderlands 3, of course, and then now here we are at Borderlands 4. So, now, one thing I will reiterate here, or iterate to a certain degree as well, when it comes to a looter shooter, I've always known to become of this in terms of these types of games, or quality of them. And, coming off from, like Destiny or Destiny 2, or even from the Division or Division 2, I would say that Borderlands 4 is definitely, it's the highest tier of quality when it comes to looter shooters, in my own personal opinion, because I really think for the most part that Borderlands 4 it's not just a good or an amazing looter shooter as it is, it's what this whole entire franchise as a whole is able to do. It's about its gunplay more appropriately, it's more about the loot, right? But that's not usually always the case, okay? But to me here, I would say I'm really impressed with the character progression in this game, though, too, because I'm playing as Vex. I'm playing the Siren, and I played it for 8 levels for this game, and I said to myself one day, I'm just like, I'm not vibing with this. So I ended up deleting my character. I want to get into the game for my very first playthrough, and I couldn't do it. I don't know, there was just something that was really not wanting me to play this game, really. Well, I wanted to play it, but it was just that I was getting a little overwhelmed, okay? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a brand new Siren with Vex, obviously, and I'm actually enjoying myself a lot more now than my first playthrough. And the reason for this is because I looked up so many different types of not resource management to a certain degree when it comes to weapons or what you're going to be using, like elemental or kinetic and that sort of thing. I did some research for this character in a specific way because I love this type of gunplay or gameplay with Vex. It's amazing, and that's why I'm saying with the second playthrough that I'm doing now, it's my permanent playthrough right now as well. I've noticed that when it comes to playing as Vex, basically the Siren, obviously, it's a much better experience than my first initial playthrough. Not all the way through, but I would say maybe a couple of hours. I would say maybe 2-3 hours with the Siren for a couple of, I would say 2-3 hours at most. But now, since I've had combined from the new playthrough that I'm playing as Vex, I would say my experience is greater. There's more depth to it, and that's one thing I'm really liking about Borderlands 4, though, too. And not just that, I actually like the characters in this game. I am planning on playing as the other Vault Hunters as well. I want to know what I'm going to get into when it comes to those other Vault Hunters, like Rafa, or I forget what the other two were as well. But you get where I'm going with this. And so I'm just saying, for me, though, it takes a long time to get in a game much like Borderlands, or much like The Division, or even Destiny. That is an MMO looter shooter because there's so much loot, right? And so, again, I'm just saying, this is where I'm getting some Destiny. I'm actually getting some Destiny vibes in this game. And in a way, for me, I like it. And what I mean by that, it's the elemental design of each weapon you pick up, no matter what company that you are using for the weapons. Like Torg, Mollywan, Jacobs. I mean, you have all these unique brands when it comes to Borderlands, right? Because it's Borderlands. That's what makes it so amazing. Now, I will say, playing with Vex with the submachine guns, specifically that either kinetic or elemental, like I should have mentioned this before, I'm being far more effective. Because the Siren Vex, basically, she uses SMGs for most of the time, whether if it's a kinetic or streamlined along with the elemental weapons that you prefer. And not only that, what's even more amazing about this character build that I'm doing as well with Vex is that you have Trouble, her sidekick minion, right? And that is where the experience is, though, too. And that is what makes it a lot more fun. And honestly, I'm going to say one thing here, though, too. I'm not used to playing these types of characters. I'm more on the lines like to be an all-out, brawl-out, or nothing but a run-and-gun shooter, right? You know, like Doom or Quake and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to Borderlands, it's so different because you're experimenting so much with weapons, with character builds, and that's what I love about Borderlands or these types of games in that genre as a whole. And to me, it's amazing. I love it. And so I just want to get my own experience out there right now, because I really think that's the most important thing that you should actually have with a game like Borderlands. Any of the Borderlands, really, other than Borderlands 4. But there is one thing I will say, though, too, about this game. The world in this game. They did an absolutely amazing job with this. I love the open world. There are things that you can do. I think that there's more exploration involved. I really like that. It's actually meaningful to a certain degree, to where you're actually you want to find certain things. You can go fishing for weapons, for what I understand as well. And when you like go to certain areas in the game, like early on, you know, like going fishing for the weapons, like I said, I'm sorry. And so again, but, you know, venturing off into the wilderness, because it's an open world game, they did a little bit more of a different structure than the previous Borderlands, which I think is really cool. I actually really like it because I love open world games. But point being, I love the fact that you can venture off and do certain things and, you know, get a certain type of collections. And when you finish these collections, or vice versa, or whatever they are, you can get certain types of upgrades for your SDUs. And those SDUs are going to be pertained to, you know, like ammunition buildup, or not buildup. You can carry more ammunition. You can carry more weapons for the backpack, your bank. I mean, you have all these implementations in the game that were actually previously in the original Borderlands games as well, back in the past few years. And to me, I feel like that, like I said again, they actually did a really good job with this game. They did. Like I said, I am very, very impressed. I mean, for me, it really takes a lot to really be impressed with the game, much like Borderlands or much like any other games that you could possibly think of, because, I mean, to me specifically, I always thought that looter shooters were not all that fun. But, you know, being a veteran of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, and being a veteran from the Division 1 and 2 as well, and being a huge veteran when it comes to the Borderlands games, because like I said, I played all the way through the other titles. And Borderlands 2, I would say, is my all-time favorite. But I'm going to tell you right here, right now, dude, even if I have not finished this game just yet, which I will at some point, but I mean, like I said again, this game is huge. It's huge. And so I'm just saying that this is where this game really does a really good job with its world building, its character arcs, and its character build progression that you can do. The weapons are back and better as ever, you know. And it's just that this whole entire world of a Borderlands franchise, you know, Borderlands 4 specifically, is that, you know, like I said, it's phenomenal of how far we've come when it comes to not just gaming, but when it comes to looter shooters and, having a little bit of a Destiny feel to it, you know. And what I mean by the Destiny feel to it as well is that, you know, for what I understand, the weapons will be leveled up to you. They will either be a level below you or a level above you. And so, I don't know. I might be blowing smoke out of my ass. So my apologies if I'm creating a false equivalency. That's not my intention. So that's all I got to say about this, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, so much further ado, I really want to get this out there. I really want to talk about this game and what my full-on impression so far of this goes so far for my first 8 hours. But too much further ado, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I greatly appreciate that. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And you guys are absolutely wonderful, very supportive. And this is Jake from Citizen JV. Peace.